Welcome back to Channel 12 News. I'm Joey Jones, and it's time for our final segment of the night, What Joey Thinks. Our topic of the night, Buddhism. Most people like me don't know very much about Buddhism, and the beliefs and characteristics that Buddhists share, as well as the impact they have upon society. Buddhism is by no means the largest religion in the world. With an estimated 7% of the world's population, it puts Buddhism as the sixth largest. The majority of Buddhists live in Eastern Asia in countries like Thailand, Japan, Burma, and China. But Buddhism is spreading and it's becoming more popular in Western culture. The main reason that I personally discovered for so many people's newfound interest in Buddhism is that Buddhism is a religion of realism. The main teaching of Buddha was the acknowledgement of suffering and how to deal with it. Buddha showed us that when dealing with suffering, you don't need the most expensive things to do so either. When talking about the meat and potatoes of Buddhism, two things come to mouth: the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path to Nirvana. The Four Noble Truths are the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. But more simply put, suffering exists, it has a cause, it has an end, and has a way to bring about its end, which just so happens to be the Eightfold Path to Nirvana. The Eightfold Path consists of 8 practices: right view, right resolve, right speech, right conduct, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right samadhi, or concentration for you gringos. When learning about Buddhism and the teachings of Buddha, the takeaway that I got from Buddhism is that life is full of suffering, whether it be big or small, and in order to deal with suffering, we must embrace it and accept it. Another reason I think Buddhism is becoming popular in Western culture and having an impact on our society is because Buddhism teaches minimalism. Too many people these days get caught up in the materialistic influences of society, and they live their lives trying to have the highest paying job so they can buy the nicest, most expensive things. I'm going to read you something from Diamond Way Buddhism that I think is the most important piece of background on Buddha. Since his parents wanted a powerful ruler for their kingdom, they tried to prevent him from seeing the unsatisfactory nature of the world. They surrounded him with every kind of pleasure he could ask for. He was given 500 attractive ladies, had the best teachers, and had every opportunity for sports and excitement. He completely mastered important combat training, even winning his wife in an archery contest. But finally, at age 29, he was confronted with suffering. On a rare outing from his luxurious palace, he saw someone that was desperately sick, he saw a decrepit old man, and he saw a dead body all for the first time. He was very upset to realize that old age, sickness, and death would come to everyone he loved. He was also upset that his whole life he'd been hidden from the cruelties of the world. Buddha spent the next 6 years wandering the lands trying to find full enlightenment. He fasted to the point of starvation and nearly death until he could understand that suffering associated with hunger. He sat for days at a time meditating and cutting through the mind's most subtle obstacles until he could finally find full enlightenment. He devoted his entire adult life to traveling and spreading his teachings to all regardless of class structure. Buddhism showed us that everyone suffers. No matter whom you are, no matter how high you sit, at some point you will suffer. But it teaches us that suffering is only temporary, and if you follow a few simple rules, you can get through that suffering. Buddha also showed us that if you have all the riches in the world, you still won't have true enlightenment, and you can still suffer. But what we learn from him is that it's not what you have in life that gives it worth, it's what you do with your life. And that's what Joey thinks.